Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to From Middle Class to Millions. I want to talk about money that's hiding. All right. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I run into this issue with my clients all the time. First of all, they think that they don't have enough money to invest more, to start investing. And so they hold themselves back for years and years and years. And what ends up happening is they lose a lot of time that they could have spent making their money work for them, putting their money to work while they're going to work, while they're living their lives. And I want that to stop now. And this is part of the reason why I started my program, From Middle Class to Millions, your first 100K. $100,000 is the inflection point. For some of you, you're like, I already have $100,000 invested. I don't need this. And I say, yeah, actually you do. Because many of you may have more than $100,000 invested, but you don't even know how you got there. You don't know if it's going to be, whatever you have, it's going to be enough, because you don't know what the projections are, and you don't know if that money's going to last. So I think that even though, yes, this is called your first 100K, it's also for you to understand your second 100K or your third 100K. Whatever the case may be, I want you to understand your money. And for those of you who haven't started yet, because of all the reasons why we hold ourselves back, because you don't feel you have enough money, because you have a lot of debt, because you don't understand investing, you're intimidated, for all of the reasons why you haven't started, this program is for you. I am gentle. I may be screaming at you right now, but I walk you through the process. And the reason why I'm screaming right now is because I don't want you to waste another second, another minute, another month, another year. I just don't want you to even waste another decade. For those of you that have been saying you wanted to do this and you want to get started, I want you to understand not only that the importance of getting started now, but understanding what you're doing. Now, the myth that I have to debunk and that I go up against all the time is that people just don't believe that they have enough money to get started, or that they have enough money, period, and it's going to make a difference. And I want to share with you that if I had had that same belief when I was investing $12.50 every 2 weeks, I wouldn't be a multimillionaire today. What made the difference for me is the fact that I knew that although I only had $12.50 to start, it was going to only be the beginning. It wasn't going to be the end of my journey. And so that $12.50 was low stakes. Now it's low stakes. Then it felt like a lot. But it enabled me to understand how to invest. It enabled me to take chances. It enabled me to learn with my $12.50. And I will never, ever downplay anybody who is, investing $25, $50, $100 a month. It makes a difference because the consistency and the time in the market is so much more important than all of these people out here timing the market. So I want to share with you a couple of situations that a lot of the women that I work with are in, have been in, and I want you to think about whether or not you see yourself in any of these situations. Now, some of you have worked for maybe 3 employers by this point, 5 employers, and each of them may have had some sort of retirement thing that you signed up for, right? Maybe during the onboarding week, you had to watch all the videos, including the sexual harassment videos, the retirement benefit videos, the healthcare benefit videos, all the things. And you did all of that. But when you signed up, you turned your head, went to work, and then you left the company. There's probably also some HSAs from that one job that had a high deductible savings plan. You didn't really understand a high deductible health plan. You didn't really understand what you were signing up for. Maybe somebody told you to sign up for a health savings account, and it's out there, floating around at that old company as well. Same with old savings accounts. I know that a lot of folks have some savings accounts that they don't use anymore. You may have forgotten, but they are out there. And, they're not earning anything, but it's still your money. And you deserve to know what it's doing, and you deserve to make the better choices with said money. So I want you to think about all of these types of accounts that may be out there from, previous employers, previous health savings accounts, even old bank accounts. They're going nowhere. They're just sitting there, and you've probably forgotten them. And, we don't get paper statements anymore. And do you even know the password? And can you get into these accounts because you're no longer employed with the company, or you don't recall exactly what the account number was? See, when we don't have a plan for our money and we're not respecting our money, even if we think we want to respect our money, but when we're not consciously being intentional with our money, this is what happens. Stuff's everywhere. And you think you're doing something, but your focus is more so on your salary and on your paychecks, right? And getting those increases, those raises, those promotions. But you don't have a strategy for all of the money around your salary that's a part of that. And because that, there's a lack of structure there, and it's really vague and foggy, that's what creates the anxiety about money. Because you may have money out there. You've worked at other jobs. You've probably opened accounts. Sometimes they open these retirement accounts for you, but you have no idea what you're doing, and you're afraid to look. And for some of you, I can honestly understand. You don't even know where to look. Like, how do I recoup these accounts now? How do I go about doing that? And it all sounds pretty messy, but I want you to know that messy money is still money, and it's still your money. And so even if you are putting it off till later, I want you to know that later can be right now. And when you have somebody who can walk you through the steps, hold your hands through the process, help you get all of these things organized, it no longer appears messy. It actually appears as if you are in control. Because you are. Because now you know where things are. You know what you want to do with that money once you get it back into the fold. And you can actually start to see it working for you. And by working for you, I mean you can start to see it grow. Because when your money is scattered and disorganized, it's very expensive. Because money sitting around doing nothing is not doing anything for you. And I want you to always think about having your money work harder for you than you do for it. So let's talk about how we're going to find some of this money, because I think this is an important thing to discuss, that the money that is hiding is the money that you can use. It is the money that you can use to grow. It is the money that can help you achieve your goals. But first we got to figure out, okay, where is this money coming from? And a lot of you always say you don't have any money to invest, and that's why you haven't started. But I'm going to name 4 places where you could find this money. Okay? And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about it today. And then I'm going to talk about how we're going to dig deeper into this and many other concepts in my program From Middle Class to Millions, Your First 100K. Did I tell you guys that the doors close for that on August 28th? We're going to walk into September knowing what's going on with our money so that we can close out this year feeling really strong and confident. So you can close out this year with a plan for your debt, close out this year with a plan to start investing, close out this year understanding your investments, close out this year knowing when you're going to get to 100K, 250, $500,000, $750,000, $1 million. You are going to understand what's going on starting in September. You're going to close out this year knowing what's going on with your money. You remember that New Year's resolution that you made? Yeah, that one. Well, it's not too late. And we're going to figure it out, okay? Today, you are going to hear this and you're going to figure out how you're going to make this happen. All right? If you've already heard me talk about this program, you don't even have to listen to this whole podcast. You could just click the link below in the show notes and book a call with me so that we can get started. All right? I don't want you to waste another second. Let's talk. All right. Let's talk about the 4 places where you can find the money. Okay. Stop number 1 are old 401ks. All right. If you've left a job, there's a good chance you've left one behind. I cannot tell you how many people I've encountered who have an old 401k somewhere. Either they didn't remember, they didn't know how to access it, they completely didn't even know that they had one. I've run into those too. You are not going to be the first person who left an old 401k behind. So the first thing you need to do is go back in your brain, look at your resume, see where you've worked, and go back and find them. Sometimes you got to go through old HR portals, old statements, if you still had statements at that time. But there are ways. There's a national database where you can find your old 401k. It takes no time at all whatsoever. But the key, though, is once you find it, you got to move it. You can't leave it there. The reason why I tell people to roll over their 401k is because of fees. A lot of the times when you're no longer an employee at a company, they charge you fees to manage your 401k. Now, I say manage, and I use that quite loosely because nobody's managing it, nobody's watching it, nobody's doing anything, but because it's in their possession, they can charge you. I had a client who discovered that her old 401k was charging her $1,200 a year. A year for what? She wasn't even making any real money on it, but they were siphoning out $1,200 a year because they were like, well, it's in our possession and we're managing it. So that's why it's so important for you to find these accounts and to get that money out of there. All right. That's why I say that, forgotten money, messy money can be very expensive. So what we want to do is roll that money over into an IRA so that you can control it. And that's really so simple by opening up a brokerage account, a rollover IRA account at a brokerage firm. You can choose any one that you want. You can go with Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, entirely up to you. But it takes minutes. It's, a phone call, or you could do it online, and it's not scary. And they're going to walk you through doing it too because they want your money, right? So they'll do it for you. So I don't want you to be intimidated by this at all. I want you to know that this is one of the ways where we can find money that you've probably forgotten about. The second place where you can find some money is your health savings account, your HSA. So if you have a high deductible health plan, you may also have a health savings account. And I want you to understand this, okay? Listen very carefully. Your health savings account is a retirement account, okay? It's just disguised as a health savings account. It is the only account in the United States that has a triple tax advantage. What do I mean? The money that goes into your health savings account goes in untaxed, okay? Pre-tax. While it's in there, it grows untaxed, okay? And when you take it out for medical expenses, it comes out untaxed. That's 3 times that this money is operating without taxes. Nothing else does that. Not your 401k, not your Roth IRA, okay? But here's the thing with that health savings account. In order for it to become an investment account, you have to take action. It doesn't automatically become an investment account like your 401k or an IRA. You have to actually flip a switch to make that happen. And if you've never flipped that switch, which is what I find with most of the folks who work with me, then that HSA is just cash sitting in a fancy checking account. Really and truly. And many of you are using it like a checking account, right? So I want you to go check that out because we walk through this in the program and we walk through how this HSA can be utilized as a retirement account. And you have to understand investing in order to utilize it as a retirement account, right? Now, some of you are saying, well, I may need this for medical expenses. Great. You still want to invest the money because you'll have more money in the future for those medical expenses. If it's sitting there in a fancy checking account, you know how much interest your checking account or your bank savings account's making. Nothing. Bupkis. So you want to be able to invest this. That's why I want you to understand how this account works so that you stop going to CVS and Walgreens and swiping this debit card at the pharmacy. Okay? You need to save all of those receipts and let the money grow. This is what we're talking about in the program. These are the things that are personal finance, and they're like akin to investing because you invest this HSA account, but these are things people never tell you. This is the secret sauce. This is another account that's growing right alongside all of your other accounts, and you're missing out. And a lot of employers give contributions to HSAs. So that's another way that you're getting free money, and you're just swiping that money away instead of using it to invest it for future medical bills or for whatever you may want it for in the future. Okay? Let's look at this third one. And this one's fun. This one's exciting, and I find it exciting every single time I tell people, and every single time we do it. The state treasury. Okay. You're like, what the heck are you talking about? Every state keeps a database of unclaimed money. Okay. So it could be old deposits from like utility bills, forgotten refunds, insurance payouts. I don't know. Maybe, you can check for yourself. You could check for your parents. You've moved out of the state, or you've moved even within the state, and they can't find you. So they've got this money sitting here. And I'm telling you, I think it's trillions across all of the states of unfound or lost money. So it's free to search. You go to your state treasury. It's free to search. It takes like 2 minutes. You search your name in every state you've ever lived in. You can check them all individually. Some of them, it takes a little longer than others to get back to you, but every one of them will get back to you. And I'll tell you, every single time I have a program, there's at least 1 or 2 people in the group that finds money. They find something. I think the least that somebody's found is $250. So I would recommend that you do this. We talk about this. It's an extra $250. Some of you may not find it's worth your while. I can't imagine that to be the case, because if you get $250 that we can invest, or that we can put in an emergency fund, or that we can put towards debt, or we can put towards a vacation, hey, that's $250. This is what I was talking about. It's about respecting money. Okay? This blew my client's mind. It blows their minds all the time. One of them said, I didn't know we could go to the state treasury and look up money that was still owed to us. What about that? Listen, some people find nothing, okay? Some people find real money, but I think everybody should look. And look for your family too. Okay, stop number 4, and this is the biggest one, and this is the one that makes my heart ache every time. Because I see it when people come to work with me, and this is why I want you to get this education. Because the thing is, when you get into this program, what you learn, you can take with you for the rest of your life. Okay? I know many of you went to school and you have some bupkis degree and you're like, I never used it and it was a waste. And you put 4 years in and thousands of dollars and you're like, what did I learn? You are going to learn something that, first of all, you're going to get a return on your investment, right? Because if you get in here and you find out that, hey, you're now making $200,000, you've increased your investments to $200,000, or you've saved yourself some money, you're getting a return on your investment and you're learning a skill. And this skill has not changed in years. I don't see why you wouldn't take the time to learn this skill and share it. You can share it with everybody you know. All right, I digress. Let's go back to stop number 4, and this is the biggest one, and I think it's the most important one. Sometimes it scares me. It's cash hiding inside your investment account. Okay, listen to me on this one. This happens every single time. I see people who come to me that have an investment account, but having an investment account is not the same as being invested, okay? Remember, if you've listened to previous episodes, I've described that your 401k and your IRA and your HSA, they're all suitcases, okay? But the suitcase is not the clothes. So it's all well and good to go on vacation with the suitcase, but you need clothes. And I've sat with people who have moved money into an IRA for years, into the suitcase, but they never bought any clothes. They never bought anything with it. And so it's sat and it's cash and it's in there. It's kind of like your checking account. And it hasn't grown. And they come to me and they ask me, it doesn't seem like it's making any money. And it's like, well, in essence, it really isn't, because the account says investment, but the money wasn't doing anything because you haven't bought anything yet. You haven't bought anything with that money yet. So the money isn't growing. Sometimes I go in there and I see people with $10,000 that's just sitting there doing nothing. And this, my friend, is one of the most valuable things that you're going to learn. Not only are you going to open that suitcase and buy the suitcase, the 401k, the IRA, the HSA, but we're actually going to buy the clothes to put in it. We're going to buy the investments. We're going to buy the index funds. We're going to buy the stocks. We're going to buy the bonds. We're going to buy the mutual funds. We're going to buy the things that we put in the suitcase. Those things within the suitcase, that's what grows. That's what's working for you. Okay? So it's very important for you to understand this difference, because a lot of you are sitting on money that's, in essence, you think it's invested in your IRA, but it's in a cash settlement account in your IRA. So I want you, if you do nothing else, okay, this weekend, I want you to go look at each of your accounts and find the line that tells you what the money is actually invested in. If you see a number next to the words cash or money market or settlement fund, well, you just found out that your money's not doing anything, okay? Your money needs to work. We need to put it to work. It needs an assignment, all right? And that assignment is for it to grow. And you have to tell it what to buy in order for said growth to occur, all right? So those are the 4 places where I know you could immediately find money. Old 401ks, the HSA switch, the state treasury, and the cash that's sitting in the accounts doing nothing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are tons of other places where I find people have money hidden. But those are just 4 biggies that I want you to think about and send you on your way. So imagine that now we found all this money. Every dollar we know, like this is also, we're going through your expenses. We're looking at your subscriptions. We're looking at things that you're buying, your groceries, you're eating out. We're looking at everything. And we're determining, okay, how much money do we have floating around here and what can we do with it? Once we know all of this and nothing's leaking, we don't have any leaking fees, no cash that's sitting around not earning its keep, everything is going in the same direction, which is up, and it's doing so automatically. This is what we need, okay? This is what we do in the program. Listen, I've had somebody come to me in the program who was in debt, and she wanted to invest again. And she thought that those things had to happen in sequence. Now, you know, debt first, invest someday, right? And I squash that notion every single chance I get, because you know and I know that I believe it is so very important for you to do both of those things simultaneously if you have a plan and if you have a strategy. I did not wait to pay off all my debt before I started investing. I would have lost a lot of time. Was I investing as aggressively when I had debt? No, I was paying down some of the debt that needed that attention. I was paying down that aggressively, but I was still investing. Listen, when you're $25 means something, right? $100 means something. So you may be tackling that debt, but you may have $100 that you're putting aside to investments. And as the debt goes down, the investments go up, and you can then be really aggressive with your investments, but you'll also know what you're doing, which is very important. So when she came to me, what she learned instead was that, okay, we can tackle this debt. We have a strategy. This is what we do in the program. I'm going to show you how to get that down. But I'm also going to teach you about fractional investing. And she learned about fractional investing, that you can buy a piece of a share, starting with literally $1. And you know what she said to me? She goes, I didn't know anything about that. So I'm really thankful, because here I am with $73,000 in debt, and I didn't think I would be able to invest for many, many years. But now I know that I can buy fractional shares of an ETF, and I can manage both of these things at once. I mean, I was thrilled because here she is. She has a plan to pay off the debt. She knows when she's going to have it paid off, but she also knows that she's making investments and the investments are growing and that she can just keep paying that debt down and increasing her investments. That's wonderful. And that's what found money does, actually, right? It's not about paying $1,200 in fees, although that's crazy, but it's feeling like, oh, okay, so I do have something that I can work with. I was a little disorganized, but I can get organized in a weekend. What I'm going to learn in this program is how I can take off with these found monies. Okay? So I hope that does away with this notion of I have to be out of debt first, or this notion that I don't have enough money to invest, because every single woman that I've worked with, I've found money for her to invest. I mean it. Not just the bleeding fees from the 401ks or the HSAs sitting around doing nothing in cash, but they're always subscriptions that she's paid for. Even today, I talked to someone who was doubling up on 2 sets of subscriptions, both of which were $50 each. I was like, we just found $100. Like, you know what I mean? When we slash just those subscriptions, she gets to keep the subscriptions if she wants, but the extras were $100. That's sizable money that we can contribute to investments. Every single woman, I find the money. And like there's savings accounts that aren't earning anything that could be in a high yield savings account. Like the interest from the high yield savings account is money that we can use. And even their tax refunds. Okay? If you're getting a big tax refund every April, I'm going to let you know you're not doing money right. Okay? You're not doing money right. That's not a bonus. Okay? It's your own money that you've lent to the government, interest-free for a year, that they're now like, okay, here, you can have it back. You're not getting a bonus, okay? I would rather you keep that money in your possession throughout the year and invest it and make more money. How dare you lend the government money for free? Anyway, so I don't want you to wait for a raise. I don't want you to believe that you need to get that promotion before we clean things up and you get started. Strategy comes first. Any new money comes second. That's the order of operations. And if you're thinking, okay, yeah, but that sounds like, you got to be really organized to do all these things. Yeah. That's what we're doing in the program. You don't have to be an organized person, but week by week, we are going to get ourselves organized, our money organized, so that then we can put it on autopilot and get back to the business at hand, which is living your life. But living your life without chaos, living your life without stress and anxiety about money, living your life knowing that, okay, you're filling all of these buckets, all of these pots, you're putting money in the places that it needs to be, and it's getting the opportunity to grow. All right? The women who do this, who join this program, who work with me, they're not naturally organized money people. And many of them said they have zero money knowledge. One even told me she had -0, which I thought was hilarious. But what I've noticed about all of them is that although they call themselves disorganized, they don't know anything about money and all of this stuff, they're wildly resourceful everywhere else in their lives, right? So they'll tell me they don't know anything about money, but they managed to raise kids on one income, or built a business from scratch, or ran a household when things like went left with everybody in there and life took its toll on them. They're all really, really resourceful. And really the only thing that they needed was the skill. And once they got the skill, then they were off to the races. And I get it. Nobody teaches this. Not at school, not at work, not at home. You get your HR portal and the website for your 401k. They wish you luck. And, you hear this confusing language in the financial world and you're like, I don't know quite what to do. And I see it even with my son right now, who's 21, and he's asking a lot of questions. And I'm like, this is no different than the 31-year-old, the 41-year-old, the 51-year-old. Only he doesn't have any real responsibilities right now, but he's expressing how confusing this is. So of course, if you were thrown into the world and nobody was there to answer your questions, it only makes sense that you don't understand this now. But I'm here. I'm here with the other women who want to understand this now, who want to take care of themselves, who want to take care of their families, who want to make sure that they're going to be okay, who don't want to end up being a burden on their children later, who want to make sure that they're not going to have to turn to their kids to help support them. This is what we're learning in the group. This is why I'm talking about your first 100K. I want you to bring the results from the 4 places that I told you could find money. I want you to bring all your treasure hunt results. I want you to bring your questions, all the questions that you've never asked, all the things that you don't understand. Well, why is it? What's an IRA and what's a 401k and what's the difference? I want you to know what the brokerage account is. I want you to know what an ETF is, an index fund is. I want you to understand the strategy for paying down your debt. I want you to understand how to manage your cash flow so it doesn't always feel so tight, so you can still go on vacations and you don't have a catastrophe every single time an emergency happens. You actually have the money and the resources to cover it. This is personal finance. Yes, we're tackling investing, but we've got to get the foundational stuff first. And that's why this is so very important. I want to teach you how to eliminate your debt quickly. I want to teach you how to invest. I want you to use your W-2, every single morsel of it, to be your best investor. And I want you to use everything that they offer you to your advantage. I want to show you how to create your exit strategy, whether that's you're going to retire at 65, 67, 70, or you want to retire early. I want you to have a plan for you so that when you do it, you're not in trouble, you're not destitute, and you're not scared. I put this program together so that you will be the one who will know what your money's doing. You're not going to be focused on your money all the time. In fact, I like it better when you're not watching it. I like it better when you learn and you understand, and then you don't have to keep watching it. That's the best strategy of all. I want you to know that this program is for you if you understand that it's time. If you're scared, if you're worried, if you're concerned that you don't have enough, you're not doing enough, you're not going to be able to do this, you need to get in here. Don't put it off any longer. Don't wait till the debt's paid off. I know that is what is drilled into people's heads, but it is the worst thing that you can do. You need time in the market, not timing in the market. And when you join the program, and the link is in the show notes, when you book a call with me and you tell me what is keeping you up at night, what you actually want to accomplish, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. When you join the program, you're going to see all that is available to you, everything that we're going to cover, and you're going to have first-hand exposure right there with me every single week. You're not talking to anybody else. You're talking to me, the person who started investing $12.50 every 2 weeks, and it is now a multimillionaire. I want you in the group. I want you there. I want you to find that money from those old 401ks, the HSA, the treasury, the cash in the investment accounts, whatever you have in the mattress, the subscriptions. We're going to find it. We're going to put it to work. And if you don't know where to find it or how to find it, then you know how to join the program and we'll find it together. Because I will help you do that and much, much more. All right. I look forward to talking to you. Book a call. The link's down below. Have a good week.